Hello everyone, this is Dr. Smita Nagaonkar, Consultant ENT Surgeon and Section Coordinator at Sir H.N. Reliance Foundation Hospital. I'm really thrilled to introduce our special guest today, Genelia. Who doesn't know Genelia?
Oh, thank you, Doctor.
She is just amazing. She has made her own space in Indian movie industry, but besides being a fine actor and producer, she's an extremely caring mother to two kids.
Thank you.
She joins us today for a quick chat about a crucial topic, the use of grommets or tympanostomy tubes, ear tubes. They are bobbin-like devices used in treating middle ear infections. Genelia is here to share her experience and insight with us, help raise awareness about how this simple procedure can make a big difference for those suffering from long-standing built-up of fluid behind the eardrum. Thank you, Genelia, for lending your voice and face for this important cause.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much for feeling that I'm able to impart something that I have gone through in my journey with my kids as well. Thank you, Doctor.
Definitely. So let's start with the questions.
Done.
Were you aware about this clinical condition at all, Genelia?
No, absolutely not, Doctor. I was not aware, and I don't think many people talk about it as well. In fact, both my children suffered from regular ear infections, and I was always questioned, like, what are you doing? Oh, you're doing swimming. That's why it is. That's the problem. And every time I did that, and I remember, thank you, because you sat me down and you explained to me that they can swim and they can have this, but it is probably the upper respiratory conditions that cause this. And some kids have it tougher, some kids don't have it tougher.
Genelia, here it is. I'll just show you how that fluids gets in there actually. So as you can see here, this is the eardrum. This is the tube which I was telling you, which is situated behind the nose. So it connects back passage of the nose to the middle ear. Fluid is collected in this cavity, what we call as middle ear. So when fluid continues to stay there for too long time, it can damage these little structures there. It doesn't have space to come out on this side because this tube is blocked and not allowing the ventilation to happen. And on the other side, eardrum is still intact. So you can imagine fluid in there, the child feels, or even for that matter, adult feels lot of pressure there. It can present as pain in the ear. It can present as decreased hearing because when sound waves actually come and hit this eardrum, the eardrum vibrates. However, there is no further movement happening freely because of presence of fluid. And that's how it also affects the hearing. This is what I wanted you to show.
And I do remember the first time you told me about tubes as well. And grommets, I know you call it. I just call it tubes. Because, and I remember when you told me it's a little incision that you need to put in. And for me, I'm someone who welcomes medicine, and I welcome the fact that there is progress at every day, right? So I welcome these thoughts. But I remember discussing this at home, and they were like, are you serious? You're going to cut their eardrum? So,
Exactly.
Again, I went into self-doubt that am I being too liberal in my thoughts, and am I thinking that it's all okay to do this, and it really isn't, you know?
True.
Yeah.
And also, Genelia, when we are talking about kids,
Yeah.
a lot of times they actually end up presenting in a different way.
Yes.
We were fortunate to detect it earlier because they did have ear infections as such. But in lot of kids, they don't even realize it because kids can't speak. They can't tell what is happening to them.
Yes.
So what happens is that it presents in a very different way. Some kids have behavioral issues. Some kids present as poor learners at school. Some kids also have good speech and language development issues.
Yeah.
So early detection definitely
Really
helps in that.
Absolutely. Like I remember my elder son, when he had this severe ear infection, and he would keep doing and I would be like, I would think that he's, playing around.
Yes,
So I would be almost losing my patience. Like, you can't hear, I would be, and he probably really couldn't hear, there.
True.
Or like I remember him on, with people, he would just bang into people. Like, it was just a balance thing. He would, and I would keep saying, look and walk, little knowing that he's suffering with this ear infection and not being able to tell. And I remember, I went to the US for 3 years after
Yes,
we
yes.
spoke. And when I went there, one of the doctors, there it's a normal thing, right?
Right.
Every child has it, every child.
Yeah.
So he's like, you have to do tubes. So I said, I heard about this just recently, but what exactly are?
Yes.
So he's like, what do you mean by what exactly they are? There's no
Yeah.
choice for you. You're going to
You have
help
to-
your son.
Yes.
So I was like, they don't give you a choice. Like,
Yes,
this is the best for
absolutely.
your child. So he said, the thing is, you can either keep giving him antibiotics and it may never
Absolutely.
ever recover, or you can
Absolutely.
help him out with these tubes. And I was like, but is it dangerous? He said, we do zillions of these a day. So I don't know what is danger. I don't know how to answer your question.
So basically, I'll just share a few insights here. We do try and protect our kids to little more extent than Western
Yeah.
world does,
Yeah.
is what
Yeah.
our culture is
Yeah.
all about. When it comes to kids, them having any procedure done or anything, entire family comes together
Yeah.
and tries to dictate,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
to be done and what. And kids, he'll grow out of
Yeah,
it.
he'll grow.
This is something that you give only those 10 to 12 weeks for them to grow out of it
Yeah.
or get out of it. If that clinical condition resolves on its own
Yeah.
with medications and things,
Yeah.
it's good enough.
Yeah.
If not, then we need to consider
Consider
it to avoid. I'll just show you on this little
Yes.
thing which you remember we've
Yeah.
shared before. So this is where the eardrum is.
Yeah.
And actually, these are tiny bones there.
Yeah.
So if fluid is trapped in that place for very long
Yes.
time,
Yes.
in that case, it causes damage to the local area,
Absolutely.
local little structures. So we don't want that to happen.
Yes.
So what we do is we take a little nick from outside. It's done under microscopic
Yes.
vision, magnified vision.
Yeah.
We take a very small cut
Yeah.
on the eardrum, drain the fluid out from there, which is trapped here.
Yes.
And once that fluid is taken out, we put a bobbin-like tube there,
Yes.
and that tube establishes good ventilation between the middle ear and the external ear. So this is what the whole aim of this procedure
No,
is.
I remember you showing me this also, doctor.
Yeah.
And I remember you showing me the size of the grommet,
Yeah.
which was smaller than your bindi right now.
It's very, very small.
So I was like, just because of non-awareness, so
Yes.
many kids are struggling today.
Yes.
Like, at least wherever I'm concerned and whenever I meet moms, I keep telling them, that so often we force them to eat food, do this. Like, I know my kids used to lose their taste, with food because
Right.
it was just not happening. Like, their mouth was just not
Correct.
feeling correct. And I would think they were fussy kids. But the fact was that their ears were so full that they couldn't really, appreciate
So
it. Yeah.
And their nose were blocked. So
Blocked.
basically, they
Yeah.
couldn't eat
Yeah.
and breathe at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yes.
And that was one of the causes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But with me, at least, what I felt, I went ahead and I did it, right?
Yes,
With you. And
absolutely.
I did it for my eldest son first, and then
Yes.
I did it for my youngest son.
Yes.
And I mean, being a testimony for it, I would clearly say that it made such a big difference in such a confident child, which every mom wants to see.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't think any mom doesn't want to do it. I just think the lack of knowledge,
Awareness.
of it,
Totally.
makes them, and a lot to do with this didn't happen in our time. This is a
Yes.
regular statement that it
Yes.
is. But so want the air fryers and so want there's so many things, in
True,
that
true.
time. There's something beautiful about medicines that, I'm not saying load yourself with, unnecessary stuff, but I'm saying something that helps you always matters for a
Yes,
child.
I think it's a very simple procedure. It's done in a very in a very under microscopic way. It's a very meticulous procedure. It doesn't take too long.
Yeah.
Recovery is very quick.
Yes.
There's no much of time spent in
Yeah.
hospital after the
Yeah.
procedure. And if that is going to bring your child back into
Yes.
their normal rhythm,
Yes.
I think it's something that we need to really think about.
We should absolutely think about, more so because I remember, doctor, when you told me about fluid collecting in the middle ear, these things are Greek to us, as parents. We don't even know that this happens, like I remember Rian and Rael both had this heavy ear infection, and you did the hearing test with them and you said, see, it's affecting their hearing. Like it will affect
Yes.
their hearing
Yes.
if we don't clear it.
Yes.
I mean, these things are big things eventually
True.
that we don't know, but probably you guide us through it. right?
So what happens is that in Western world,
Yes.
they follow particular protocol.
Yes.
What happens is that every child gets screened for their hearing when they are born.
Yes.
At the age of preschool,
Yes.
they get screened again. And glue ear or the middle ear infection, what we
Yeah.
call as, is a very common condition in that age
Yeah.
group. Kids come from different families,
Yeah.
they share bugs there, you know,
Yes,
literally,
yes,
they don't have that sense of
Yeah.
hygiene as well.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of cross contamination that happens during that early school age.
Yeah.
So they screen them at that time, and a lot of kids are found to have this fluid which is not treated for months together. And that's when their pronunciation is not good.
Yes.
They probably are not attentive. They are not following instructions correctly. So what happens if we don't treat this fluid? If that fluid continues to stay in there for a long time, it can actually damage small structures there. There are small little 3 bones in there that they can get damaged because of long-standing fluid there. Not only that, it can also affect the texture of the eardrum, and in some cases, the fluid cannot stay in there for that long. It gets infected. It actually ruptures the eardrum and comes out. So to avoid all these damage that can happen, we have to consider appropriate intervention at correct time. This simple procedure can save all of that. And taking it ahead, because we were not aware of this procedure, or more than that, we were always aware of it, but it was not practiced very regularly. Chances of people having multiple ear infection episodes later on their life is quite common.
Is it?
So they end up having perforated eardrums.
Oh.
So we end up doing more surgeries of repairing eardrums and taking that dead bone from behind. Those surgeries are more common in our country as compared to Western world, because they are sorted with grommets at that time. What they call is a stitch in time.
Absolutely. No, I mean, I'm telling you, the reaction from that doctor there was like, what are you even asking me? Like, this is good for your child. Like, I'm not doing me anything. It's doing your child something. Don't even ask these questions. I remember him telling me, don't cluster your mind with weird thoughts. These are something that's going to help. And because you had told me about it, I had some knowledge. But had I gone there and not had any knowledge at all, it would have been quite a task, I feel. I mean, to be honest, the first time I heard it, I was also a bit, scared. I was a bit... But I think someone like you who's so caring and who gives the child so much of confidence. Like, I've never seen my children open up to a doctor so easily, like how they open up to you. And I think that's all they need. Like, I think every parent also just needs that much. They need a doctor like you to, inform and be with them on the journey. And I think that makes a big difference.
Thanks for your kind words. It really, really appreciate them. And we hope that this particular awareness session would bring that kind of a confidence in a lot of parents who are still on the borderline, thinking what to do, what not to do.
I would highly recommend it, because I've had both my boys do these tubes, and I promise you, they played better, they ate better, they swam every day. There was absolutely, like, many people say, okay, now they have the tubes, keep them at home. There's nothing like that. You're better than what you were with that heavy cold and stuffy nose most often. So from my side, I would honestly and completely say, meet someone like Dr. Smitra who will sit you down and talk to you about it. I mean, it's your right to understand. I'm not saying you need to jump into something, but don't stop it because of your fear, because that fear eventually goes on to your child, and it's not making life easier for a mom or for a child. Like, I know when my boys were little and they had stuffy nose, it used to bother me the whole night. Like, I wouldn't sleep because they would keep waking up, And the moment they did the tubes, I didn't have that. I was a happier mom. So it not only helps the child, it helps the mom, who's always the first caregiver, who's always, mostly, I mean, in most circumstances, it's always the mom who's affected by a child's illness.
That's always the case. True. And I think because the elder one had it,
Yeah.
it was not easier for you to take that decision for the second one when we went ahead and did
Yeah.
that. You came with the thing,
Yeah.
I think he needs
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah,
I
I
think
remember
it-
that call. You said take some time and think about it. I said, no, doctor, I'm coming tomorrow. I know.
And
that
we just did it
Yeah,
next
yeah,
day,
yeah,
so it was
yeah.
literally like
Yeah.
quick
No,
thing.
and it helped. The thing is, it helped. The thing is, y'all are very experienced. Y'all know exactly what y'all are doing. So, I think any kind of fear that you have as parents would be something that you just need to be aware of. I'm not saying fear is not something that we do have. We all have it as moms. We have it when our kids start walking. We have it when they run. We have it when they don't eat. We have it when they have a cold. But it's important to open and listen to things and to facts that are going to help your child.
True. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
your
thank
message
you.
for everyone. And I really appreciate each and every word that you've said. And in addition to that, taking time out from your busy schedule.
No,
I know you've got so many things lined up, but it was really kind of you to take time out to it's totally a noble and social cause that for that, and giving your voice and face for
I'm
that.
always there, and if you need me to answer any questions from moms, please don't hesitate to ask them to call me. I'm happy to talk and
So nice of you.
speak to
Deeply
anyone
appreciate.
that you feel needs that kind of comfort.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
Really, really.
No, I'm serious, doctor. You can really make them talk to me whenever you feel.
Perfect.
Yeah.